1460 WVOX.
Stay tuned now for the Racing for Heroes radio show with host Brett Morash on 1460 WVOX.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Brett Morash. We're here with Racing for Heroes radio, April 8th, 2022 on 1460 AM and worldwide on WVOX.com. We have an exciting show today. And first up is no stranger to Racing for Heroes radio. It is Wayne Castleberry of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. And he is currently calling us from out on the road. And I guess the first races got rained out this week, but he'll be talking about 3 races that are going on. So Wayne, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. Thank you for having me on the show, Brett.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you. I heard the Hillbilly 100 got rained out, though.
Yes, it got canceled tonight. They've had rain all week, and the forecast is for more rain today and tonight. So whether to try to help the racers and the fans from traveling long distances, it was called off yesterday.
Yeah.
But the plan is we'll race in Hagerstown, Maryland tomorrow, and in Port Royal Speedway in Pennsylvania on Sunday.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. I mean, it was supposed to be, 3 tracks, 3 states, 3 days, and 3 races, right? I mean, that was the plan. And how is that for the drivers going from one track to the other? I mean, that's going to be pretty wild going from one place to the other that quickly.
Yeah, well, the racers like it when they can race multiple days on a weekend instead of just one race. It gives them multiple opportunities to make additional money, and that's part of the excitement of running the Lucas Oil Tour. We go to so many different racetracks, different size, different kind of dirt, so it makes it really challenging.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this season itself is already off to a great start. I was looking at the latest points. We got Devin Moran is up at the top. Our very own Tim McCready is down, I think, around the 4 area. Hopefully we'll see him rise back up and get the championship this year. I know you can't play favorites, but
yeah, definitely McCready will be contending for the championship and be a good favorite to go back to back. And we're really excited and happy to have him on the tour. And we're also very appreciative for your involvement with his race team, and now your involvement with the Lucas Oil Late Model Series being part of the start zone.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. I mean, there's nothing like hearing on MAV TV the Racing for Heroes starting zone. So, I mean, I know I'm excited every day I see it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's a great partnership to be partnered with your company and everything that you do for the veterans and military, and we're just really honored to have you be partner of that. And we're excited about the start zone. And one of the things the announcers are probably going to be saying often is, "Here comes the heroes of the Lucas Oil Late Model Series to the Racing for Heroes start zone."
Well, listen, we're excited about that because, there's nothing like seeing a dirt track race. And, for all of our listeners out there who've never had a chance to see a late model dirt race, it is just fantastic. I mean, between the fans and just the, different type of driving, and, they're right on the razor's edge as they go around that track.
Yeah, and the access to watch our races is even more easier than ever before. Every race is streamed live on the internet on our website, mavtvplus.com. It takes a subscription, but it's only $99 for the year, and you get to see 65 races from the comfort of your own home. That comes out to a little less than $2 a race. You can't beat that.
No, and that's just the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series stuff. I mean, there's tremendous other races that are on there. I mean, everything from speedboat racing, which I'm obviously interested in, but all sorts of stuff is out there.
Yep, tractor pulling, drag boats, sprint cars. So for $99 a year, it's a heck of a value to see as much racing as you want on the website, and then to see all the Lucas Oil Late Model Series events live is just a tremendous value, and we encourage everybody to check it out.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm a big fan, and everyone at Racing for Heroes is. So let's talk about the races this weekend, though. So his first race is at Hagerstown, then followed by Port Royal, right?
Yes, Hagerstown, Maryland is tomorrow night, Saturday night. That is a long-standing traditional racetrack that's been on the schedule from probably 2006, 2007. They've
Oh, wow.
been with the series for a long time. It's a very historic, iconic racetrack in the Hagerstown, Maryland area, and has a lot of rich history and tradition there. And it's always pretty exciting race, and we're excited to go to that part of the country. And then Sunday is the big half-mile Port Royal Speedway, and just got confirmed yesterday. People who are in the Pennsylvania area, or if you want to watch it online on MAV TV Plus, Kyle Larson will be racing Sunday with us.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's going to be a big deal then. And I didn't realize that Port Royal was that big of a track. I mean, that's pretty big for a dirt track.
It is, but it races really good. It races kind of like a little 3/8 mile bull ring.
Yeah.
The racing is really good, but it is a big half mile. Very nice facilities. They put a lot of money invested in infrastructure and upgraded facilities over the last couple of years, and it's a really nice place. And I'd encourage anybody in that area to go visit it firsthand. But if you can't make it, then obviously tune in on MAVTVPlus.com.
Yeah, for sure. But even Hagerstown's actually a pretty big track too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's considered a little less than a half mile, but it's got long straightaways and pretty fast track, and it can put on some exciting shows as well.
Great. And what else do we have to look forward to for this season? Besides, I know that Racing for Heroes, we're going to be out in Lucas Oil Speedway here in late May, but what other big events you got coming up?
So that is one of the next big events. That's our marquee event of the year, the Show Me 100 at Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri. We just announced today that we booked Aaron Tippin to be the Grand Marshal.
Wow.
And to sing some of his songs, some of his big hit songs. One of them is where Stars and Stripes and Eagles Fly.
Oh, neat.
And so we're gonna have a big tribute to the veterans and the military, being as Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, you're going to be there, and so we're going to do a lot honoring the military and the veterans. And Aaron Tippin is a big supporter of the military. He was one of the first entertainers. A lot of people don't know this, but he was one of the very first ones to go overseas in the Gulf War with Bob Hope and USO tour, entertaining the troops. So he's a big supporter of the military, and so he's excited about being there, and it just adds to the whole fan experience with everything else going on that weekend, Memorial Day weekend, the Show Me 100 at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Well, that is kind of him, because honestly, I was in the military 20 years, and I had a chance to see a couple of USO shows. In fact, I got to see Don Ho before he died, which I always was pretty excited that I can say I saw a Don Ho concert. But Aaron Tippin's a big deal, because last year you had Lee Greenwood, who was just amazing.
Yeah. Last year it was Lee Greenwood, and he sang his iconic song "God Bless USA," and it was a huge hit for all the fans. It actually was standing room only, one of the biggest crowds in history. This year we're expecting to be even bigger. This is the 30th annual running of the Show Me 100. And they've increased the purse, and it'll be a record-paying $50,000 a win. Wow. The most ever for the Show Me 100 in history of the event. Being the 30th annual event, they wanted to do something big. So $50,000 a win, Aaron Tippin, and some other pre-race ceremonies, and the whole fan experience is just really cool deal for people to attend an event. But it'll also be live on the MAV TV network, along with being streamed live. So people will have several different opportunities to watch it. And we encourage everybody. It's always you were there last year, how big a spectacle it is, and the excitement and the parade lap with the fireworks and the fire bombs that go off. It's pretty intense. Oh,
it is amazing. And in fact, I think you had a chance to meet my son, Henry. He came out with us as well. And he got to hold that gigantic American flag, which, like football field sized, at the beginning of the show. And he still talks about it, because I think the fireworks went off 2 feet behind him. So he still talks about how some of the chunks came back down. I was like, hey, you're all right. Rub some dirt on it. It'll be all right.
They do a good job at Lucas Oil Speedway, and Like I said, this is probably the marquee event on our schedule and one of the biggest races of the season for dirt late model racing. And so every year we're trying to make it a little bit better. And so we're excited to have Aaron Tippin this year.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so for the season, though, it runs till late October, right? That's kind of the game plan.
Yeah, Portsmouth, Ohio, mid-October, the Dirt Track World Championships, our season finale, which pays $100,000 to win.
Wow.
And that's always a really big race, and usually packed out crowd. And so that's we'll run all the way to October, and then we'll get started for 2023.
Yeah, and we'll be out there as well, I think, for Portsmouth. So we're totally looking forward to that. Any last things out there, Wayne? What's coming up? Points, drivers, anything you want to do a little shout out?
There's probably going to be a pretty tight battle this year in the point standings. Tim McCready obviously is a favorite, but there's several other guys that are running really well. Tyler Erb is right there. Earl Pearson Jr., who's been running a lot better since he switched race teams. He's right there in the top 10 in points, not too far out of first.
Yeah.
Jimmy Owens is running good. So it's going to be a interesting battle for the championship week in and week out.
Yeah.
And then you mix in a lot of the regional local guys that are good in their area, and the races are really excited. We have some phenomenal races during speed weeks, and we're just looking forward to another great season.
Well, thanks so much, Wayne. And listen, looking forward to seeing you again soon. I want to thank you again for being on here. And if anyone wants to look at your website, it's lucasdirt.com, right?
Correct. And,
awesome.
I just want to say thank you again for the Racing for Heroes organization, everything that y'all do for the military and veterans, and partner with the Lucas Oil Series this year. We really appreciate that, and we're honored to be a part of your organization.
And we're honored to be part of yours too. So thank you again, Wayne. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Wayne Castleberry of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Just an incredible individual and an incredible organization that we are proud to be sponsors of. So with that, we have our next driver on. We have Daniel Dean Jr. He is a veteran of the United States Air Force, and he was a nuclear weapons technician during his time in the Air Force. Subsequently, when he left, he went into racing, and he pilots the number 57 Grit and Grace Real Estate late model out of Orange County Speedway, and he lives in Mooresville, North Carolina. So with that, Daniel, you on the line, brother?
Yes, sir, I am. I appreciate you having me on today.
Oh, well, listen, we're appreciative of having you on here because you drive a late model, but your late model's on asphalt, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's an asphalt late model.
Well, that's a little different, though, than I think usually when we talk late model, like we were just on with Wayne, we're talking about the dirt cars. Like, so how is that like significantly different for our listeners who don't understand the difference between them?
So I don't have a lot of experience actually with the dirt late model stuff. I kind of came up on dirt when I was younger in the go-kart series out in Jacksonville, North Carolina, but never really had a lot of experience with the bigger dirt late models. And still, honestly, if I'm being real, I'm kind of learning the asphalt late models kind of as I go.
Yeah, right. And where is Orange County Speedway? That's in North Carolina as well, right?
Yes, sir, it is. It's up in Rougemont, North Carolina, kind of close to the Greensboro, Durham area.
Yeah, so not too far. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you're now driving with some Racing for Heroes colors on your car as well.
I am. I recently partnered with the organization, and I'm really excited to have them on the car and kind of be learning about the Racing for Heroes mission and how I can play into that and help support that. And it's made a little bit of a difference in my life personally too. So I'm proud to have you guys on.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you there. And from what I've been told is that the Racing for Heroes logo actually adds about 3 miles per hour to your top speed. So it might give you that little edge that you need in any race.
Exactly. I don't know about the miles per hour, but I know it knocks about 2/10 off. So we're looking good.
I'm just kidding. Hey, well, let's talk about, you're in the Air Force, and I think people kind of forget that the Air Force does a lot of things. One of them is, obviously fly planes and, kind of the more obvious things, but it's also part of the strategic deterrent, and at sort of the very, very, very small tactical level, it's not small at all, is working on nuclear weapons. And, you were a technician. How did you end up in that?
So I kind of just lucked into it, if I'm being honest. I was born in North Carolina, but I kind of grew up in small town Georgia. And decided that I wanted to join the military. My whole family had joined the military, my dad, my grandfather, my grandfather's brother. So military was kind of a no-brainer. So I went into the Air Force recruiting office and talked with him. I had scored decent on my ASVAB, and I originally wanted to be a crew chief, an aircraft mechanic.
Right.
But whenever I saw nuclear weapons technician on the list, I said, well, that sounds interesting, and I could probably make a living doing that. So I opted to that, and I went through the technical training. I passed it, and I had told my recruiter that I wanted to be somewhere on the East Coast. I didn't care where. Well, once I passed technical training, they had sent me to Wyoming. So,
well, needs of the Air Force, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, I think it just shows you the responsibility that we're asking of young people in the military, right? Like 18-year-old kid, and I'm sure by the time you went through training, you're about 19. You're still talking about like a tremendous amount of responsibility for such a young person.
Right, exactly, and you don't really see it when you're more of a team member, when you're actually the one doing it. But when I grew into my NCO roles and made a little bit of rank, and then started supervising some of these guys, and yeah, they're kids, ultimately, and I was still just getting my adult legs under me by the time I became an NCO. And,
right.
It's a lot of responsibility to place on a young person's shoulders, for sure.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it's still kind of broken into two parts. You've got the missileer world, which is primarily the silos out in the western part of the country, and then you've got aircraft like out in Barksdale and stuff like that are strapped with airdropped or air launched cruise missiles. So that's kind of like the bifurcation, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir. It's a triad. So the Air Force keeps two legs of that triad, and then of course the Navy provides the third leg of that triad.
Right. See, now if you joined the Navy to be a nuclear weapons tech, you could have been in Kings Bay, Georgia, would have been on the East Coast. So not that I'm saying that you should have joined the Navy, my friend, but you may have had all your dreams come true if you went that route. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
I'm just kidding.
No, that's right. Hindsight, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift away from nuclear weapons. Hopefully we'll never have to use them for real. But anyway, but let's talk about your racing. So you started out in go-karts, right? And then how did that start? Like mom and dad threw you in a go-kart, or you just begged them?
Well, actually, I was in Boy Scouts. My dad had started racing go-karts locally there at Highway 24 Raceway, which is now shut down, unfortunately. But it was a nice little dirt bull ring out there in Richland, North Carolina. And the next year I said, man, that looks really fun. I kind of might want to do that. So, he sat me down. He said, well, son, you can go to Boy Scouts and keep moving up the ranks of Boy Scouts, try to be an Eagle Scout, or you can go racing. I said, well, I'm going racing. So we did that for about 2 to 3 years. Parents got a divorce, so I kind of, moved down to Georgia, and I kind of put a pause on things for a bit.
Sure.
When I was still in the military out in Wyoming, I tried to get into it a little bit, just could never get a good program going, working 12 to 16 hours a day.
Right.
It was difficult to do that and field a car, especially not really, arguably not really knowing a whole lot. When I was doing dirt stuff, all I knew was hit the gas and turn and apex, that was it. So I was learning a lot.
Well, yeah, but that dirt driving probably helped you up in the northern states there, because it was so cold. You had to drive on ice and stuff, right, too. So,
It definitely did. No kidding. And it does transfer over nowadays. I like my cars a little bit looser,
Yeah.
So I can kind of wheel it coming off, not really dirt track it. But, it doesn't surprise me when it steps out anymore, and I'm not as, timid with it.
Yeah, but I think that's important, right? Because I mean, if you're racing, there are skill sets that you do learn. It's like anything in the world, right? Like I'm sure you had things that you learned in the Air Force when you were doing your job there that are actually translatable to your civilian world as well.
So most definitely, the Air Force made me grow up a lot, and now that a lot of that transfers over into my business work, because there's a lot more business than what it meets the eye whenever you see a race car driver, especially, one that does not have a current corporate sponsor.
Yeah.
Is just trying to, kind of work it and make sure that they can stay in the seat. So there's a lot, it's probably 70-80% business, and, 10% is actually in the seat learning. So,
well, that's true, right? Because I mean, really, a lot of this is the prep side of that. And I think that's where the community, when Race for Heroes talks about the motorsports therapy, it's not just being behind the wheel, it's also that coming together as a team to get that car ready to rock and roll on the weekends.
Right, exactly.
And who's part of your team? I mean, I'm assuming you're not a one-man gang.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I've got I got a lot of good guys. I actually currently race with Tech Racing. Mike Chambers, Thomas Chappell. They run a shop up there near Orange County Speedway. Had a few volunteers come on, and help out the team. Last time we were at a test session, I had two gentlemen, Joe and Tommy. They were out there changing my tires. I'd never met them before in my life, and they were there changing my tires. So, I tried to at least give them, spend 10, 15 minutes trying to at least talk to them, learn about them, because, I was on the crew side in NASCAR for a bit, and that was always important to me. Was I didn't want to be a driver, if I finally made it to that point where I didn't know my crew, and I wasn't there to just show up and drive a car. It's a big team aspect, and I think that starts with the driver.
Yeah, for sure. No, and listen, it's like a football team, right? Like the quarterback is nominally the the captain of the squad, when they're on the gridiron. And the same here, right? Like, when you're getting ready to line up on the grid here, you really are kind of the captain of the ship. I mean, alongside the crew chief, of course.
Right. Absolutely. No, that what isn't seen by fans in the stands is the, hundreds of hours that are put in the shop, during the week by the crew guys, by the crew chief, by the team owners, trying to get that car there. And, like you said, I'm just the face as the driver. I'm just a pilot. So, I got to have a good crew to give me a good piece of equipment to work with.
Gotcha. And well, as far as your face goes, the good news is we're on radio today, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So we're very pleased.
Exactly. Mom had a face for radio, so
I love it. Hey, so what do you do in your what else do you do in your civilian world besides racing?
So besides racing, is actually not a whole lot. I do sell some real estate myself. That's kind of what enabled me to, have a little bit of time to pursue the racing side, right? I do a lot of driver instruction. Shortly after I got out, I was kind of missing that camaraderie, in some way, shape, or form. And I fell into a group. I had an individual reach out to me, a good friend now, Peter Brucci. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I work with a track group called Motorsport for the Masses." And what we do is it's kind of a bridge between cross and full-blown, big racetrack track days, which is kind of missing in the market. That way you're not so stressed out going to a big track. But he said we allow our workers to work. You're doing flagman duties, race control duties, timing duties, and in return you get free track time. And that's what I've always said I did was if somebody gave me the opportunity to work for it, I'm going to work for it, and I'm going to put in the hours. So I went there. That was probably March of 2021. I stepped foot with them. And they welcomed me with open arms. They gave me. I was planning on sleeping in my car up at Caraway Speedway was where we did the new worker introduction. And I figured I would just sleep in my car, and I'm gonna grab something real quick to eat at the gas station. I'm gonna be there to work. They said, "No, you're gonna sleep at our house," and they not only welcomed just me, but multiple strangers to lay their head down. And then woke up at 6 a.m. and Amber Bowling, who was one of the owners of Motorsport for Masses, she was up at 6 a.m. and she cooked everybody breakfast. And, it was just an overall good culture. And that ultimately is why I stayed with the program so long. But they allowed me to work up from a flagman. They said, "Hey, one day," they said, "you're going to instruct for us." So now I've kind of been, doing high performance driving instruction, mainly with like your rear wheel drive sports cars, mid to high power, just trying to teach, the basics from watching for your flag stands all the way up to, car control and running the line and how to run off the line and, all the basics of driving. So that takes up a lot of my time.
Sure.
That opened up a door for me. I ended up, a coworker of mine from my real estate side actually had put my name in to go talk with Rusty Wallace Racing Experience after I was teaching with Motorsport for the Masses for a while. And I went there, got a position there, and I've done a few stints with them at Charlotte Motor Speedway as one of their pro ride-along drivers in their Gen 5 stock cars. So I'll take somebody around at about 160 miles an hour at Charlotte, and just for a few hot laps and let them have the ride of their life. So there's not much outside of racing. This is my full-time job.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I mean, really is. I mean, just what a great story. And when you're getting out there, and I think that goes back to like, why you're such a good ally of Racing for Heroes and, being part of our team.
Right. No, absolutely. Like I said, there's a lot of business that goes behind it. And my biggest, I guess my gist that I always wake up with is, not only do I have to try and outrun the competition, I got to try and outrun that billboard and, prove to business partners that, they're going to get their money's worth, because the sponsorship is supposed to be a mutually beneficial,
That's right. Yeah.
relationship. It's not just about a sticker on a car. It's more about what you do off track. So
100%. 100%. Well, listen, we're getting to the last 2 minutes of the show. Any last shout outs where people can look you up, buy t-shirts, all that sort of stuff? Data dump. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page, Daniel Dean Jr. Racing. I'm on Instagram under the same handle. You can find me on LinkedIn as Daniel Dean. And then you can check out my website, www.danieldeanjrracing.com. And we do have some merch. We're kind of working. It's still a very small operation, so we're still working on it. And while you're there, you can click over and learn about some more of my partners. Grit and Grace Real Estate. They sell real estate down in Charlotte all the way up to, Greensboro, essentially, and everywhere in between.
Commercial and residential?
What's that?
Commercial and residential?
Residential homes, yes, sir.
Okay,
residential. And then Grit and Essential Oil is by Gwen. She does sell a lot online. She goes to a lot of vendor shows here in the central North Carolina region. Motorsport for the masses. We do stuff from South Carolina all the way up to Virginia, Tennessee. We're expanding too, so look for that.
Well, that's
and then, of
amazing.
course, for Heroes, right there at VIR.
Well, we're super happy to have you. And listen, that is going to be the end of our show. So, Daniel, I am super appreciative to have you here. Thank you for being on the show. Go Air Force, even though it kills me to say that, but so glad to have you.
Hey, thank you for having me on, sir. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, my friend. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Daniel Dean, veteran of the United States Air Force out of Mooresville, North Carolina. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is the end of our show, and we will see you next week. And we'll leave you at the Real Doug Lane a little further down the road. Thanks so much.